Hello, welcome to Tinge Ginge. Now today we're in the snake room. It's still being redone, so there's not a lot to show you, to be honest. I do have a video that's come out about this fish tank behind me with all the filtration, what's in it, and sort of plans that I've got for that tank. So that's well worth a watch. Go over and check that one because it's going to have a lot of updates. The filter I'm going to be doing updates on as well because I do want to do some modifications to it, just because I think I can make it better than what it is, and I can just show you how it actually runs, because a lot of people have put reviews that filter actually leaks. So far, fingers crossed, I've not had any issues. Knock on wood, just to make sure. But yeah, I've not had any issues, so hopefully it doesn't leak and it still runs perfectly. The water is starting to go a little bit cloudy, so I'm guessing I need to get in there, change the filtration pads and things like that, rinse it all through, and then that should just clear up the water column again. But I'll quickly show you these guys feeding because I love these guys so much. They're absolutely awesome. Now at the minute, I'm sort of feeding them a diet of boilies and sinking pellets. I do want to get something else in there. I'm going to be feeding them some bloodworm and things like that, just because I want to try and vary their diet. I'll probably get some prawns that's quite small, chopped up, just to try and vary it basically. But yeah, basically the whole idea of this is a sort of grow out tank, just to get them up. You can see there's a load of poop back there, so I do need to clean this, and this water is quite cloudy. So yeah, that's something I need to work on in the next couple of days. But as you can see, they're all hiding at the minute. As soon as I sort of take a little step up on my stool, because this is quite high, I'm only short, so as soon as I take a step up, you can see they all suddenly start getting excited. They all come to the front and they sort of know what the sound of the lid makes. So as soon as I sort of lift that lid up, pop the food in, they sort of come out to see me, and there they are. Look at them. These guys are so cool. If you're into your carp fishing, then you'll probably appreciate this a lot more than most other people. But I can't wait for them to sort of get a little bit more used to me. I'm sort of training them to come up. Eventually I do want them to come up and feed out of my hand. That's the overall sort of plan, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, they're doing really well in here, to be honest. Someone told me that if I sort of kept these in a tank where they've been kept outside their whole life, and someone said if I put them into a tank, they're not going to survive. And yeah, so far they're doing absolutely brilliant. They're thriving. They're so chubby compared to when I got them. They're so much better now. That's probably because I feed about 6 or 8 times a day, just because I love feeding them. But yeah, these little guys are absolutely awesome. I can't wait for them to get double, triple this size, so I can get them in the pond and yeah, enjoy them a little bit more. But the tank isn't what this video is about. This video is about something that I teased probably for beginning of last year. I want to say sort of February, March time, I think I teased this. I didn't do a video on it, but I did put some pictures on my Instagram, so you can go back, find the teasers on there, sort of did a close-up view of it. But yeah, this is something that I've been working on for quite a while now. If you've watched a few of my snake videos, then you'll know I've sort of had some issues with the breeding seasons, with eggs, things like I've had babies crawling into other eggs, killing those babies, and I've had problems with a few eggs going mouldy during incubation, things like that. So the whole idea of this is to sort of cut down as many of those chances of things going wrong as possible. And what I've done is sort of 3D printed, put something together. I'm going to give it a go and hopefully it works. So I'll quickly talk you through it now. Please excuse the mess, because obviously I am still moving in, so I've got stuff here that's there and stuff all over there. A lot of this is going to go, but yeah, this is what I've been working on. So I was going to release this probably a good 3-4 months ago. My pastel clown female I had bred to my pastel blackhead, 100% het hypo, and I really wanted to try and make some pastel blackhead, het hypo, het clown stuff, because I really want to try and hit a blackhead clown. I think they look absolutely incredible, and if it had the hypo in there as well, who knows what that would do to it. And so I wasn't going to release this until I got that clutch, and this was going to be the sort of unveiling of what I've come up here. So what I've got here is I've got one of these Systema food boxes. I think I got this from Tesco's. I think I paid, they're quite expensive. I think I paid about 12 quid for this. I bought a couple just because I wanted to try it out with a few different clutches. But yeah, I paid about 12 quid for it. And the whole idea of this is I want to try and make the egg box as clean as possible, so there's no chance of mould. I'm not going to be cleaning the eggs. I'm not going to faff around with the eggs too much, because obviously the quicker you can get them into the incubator, the better it's going to be. So the whole idea of this is to try and make the whole box as sterile and clean as possible. So the thing I like about this is it does have these rubber seals along the inside of the box, so it's going to be perfectly airtight. I don't have to worry about putting cling film and stuff like that over the top like I was doing to try and keep it airtight. I don't put holes in these either. I tend to get these out sort of every few weeks, sort of just have a little look at the eggs, things like that, and I will crack the lid just to let a little bit of air exchange. But to be honest, I don't think you need to worry about air exchange too much. So I've not really done it much with my other clutches, and they've all turned out perfectly fine. So I really like the idea for the box. The clips on this are absolutely smashing. They're so sturdy. So what we'll do is take the lid off, and I'll just show you what I've done on the inside. So again, if you watch my channel, you'll know I do quite a bit of 3D printing. I love 3D printing stuff. I think it's probably the best way to get something that you want. I could have gone out and bought stuff for this, but I just couldn't have got it anywhere as near to what I wanted it to be, basically. So rather than buy it, I just like to make it. So what we've got here, we've got some sections. Now I've taken a leaf out of the gecko breeders book. So if you look at gecko breeders, especially leopard geckos, they have like these little tubs with the dividers in that the eggs sit in, like miniature easy hatch trays, and that sort of separates the eggs up. And I think that's basically so they can make it a little bit easier to identify, because obviously leopard geckos only lay 2 eggs at a time if you're lucky, so they sort of keep them separate from other eggs, and it's just a way of saving space. What I've done here is I've made it so that if a snake does come out of its egg, it can't then go and interfere with other eggs. So obviously I cut my eggs, so I did have an issue where one snake came out of his egg, crawled over to another egg and decided he wanted to go inside that egg instead, slithered all the way in, popped that baby out, and that baby actually ended up dying because I don't think it was ready to come out of the egg. Basically it probably had another sort of 4 or 5 days of absorbing its yolk and stuff. And I think the stress of that baby going in there, popping it out, just meant that it died, basically. So that's something that I want to try and cut down the risk of. So what I've got here is I've got these individual sections. Everything comes out, as you can see. This is a separate section, so that's a divider. Then I've got these bits at the top here, these little cross sections, which are like the joiners. And what that also does is where that sits in the egg box, the lid, once I put the lid on, the lid actually compresses on that, and it will push down on both of those, and it actually locks the whole thing together so nothing can move around, and it's pretty sturdy basically, so that it's going to sort of stop the snakes from being able to push their way through or anything like that. So yeah, these are absolutely brilliant. I think I've made them just the right size that a baby bull python can't squeeze their head through. Even if they do, they're not going to get through very far, and because this is only like a thin plastic, I can always just cut that baby loose and it won't do any damage to it. But to be honest, I don't think they're going to be that stupid. So that's what I've got, and with these in place, I'll just loosely place them in for now so you can see. I believe I can get 6 eggs on either side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. So I can get 6 eggs along here, 6 eggs, so I can get 12 eggs in here quite comfortably. I am a little bit worried about having eggs in these sections just because of that moisture that sort of builds up on the side. I don't want those eggs sort of moving around, but I have got little clips that I've printed for this as well that sort of go into these mesh bits here, and sort of they can hold that egg in place to stop them rolling around. But as you can see, I don't think ball python eggs are much bigger than that. If they are a little bit bigger, they will just sit on the sides of these and not roll about. But to be honest, I think they're ideal for what I'm going to need. So that's basically the dividers to stop the snakes from getting into each other and things like that. And if one does come out of the egg completely, I can just pick that snake up, take it out and put that into a little box ready for it to shed. So if I take all these out, so you can see I've got that base mesh. Now I think a lot of people use a light diffuser, something like that. I could have gone out and bought a light diffuser, I could have got it off Amazon, but me being me, I wanted it to be customized. I wanted it in orange because that is my favorite color, so I just 3D printed my own basically. And these 2 panels, they sit in there absolutely perfectly. Took a little bit of sort of jiggery pokery getting the measurements right. You can see there's like some miniature pieces here, but that doesn't bother me. I'm really happy the way they go in, and that's just going to be my nice solid base. Again, these are the same size as the dividers, so I don't think the baby snakes will be able to push their heads down and in between these. So we take these out, we're going to go up to the final layer. So here you can see I've got like some aquarium filter foam. I bought a massive batch of this, so this is one bag that I've got. There is another bag floating around somewhere. It was dirt cheap. And the whole idea of this is I want to try and get away from substrate completely. I know a lot of people have great success with it, a lot of people swear by it, but again, I want to try and control as many of the factors as possible. And so what I've gone with is, I've seen a lot of people have success with sponge, and all they do is they fill this up with water, and what the sponge does is it just holds that water in place. So if the box moves around, you're not going to have water sloshing around, getting it on the eggs, things like that. And I think it's just going to be a lot more sterile for this sort of situation, so I can clean everything before it goes in, and it's just going to lower that chance of eggs moulding, hopefully, because I've had a couple of eggs that have been perfectly good up until about halfway through their term, and all of a sudden they get a little mould spot or a little damp spot, then that sort of starts to spread, and if you catch it too late, that can end up in actually killing that snake in the egg. So the whole idea of this is to basically just try and reduce that risk, and that's basically it. I'm excited to try it. I've not had any clutches yet, but I do have a clutch coming in probably about 2, maybe 3 weeks time. If you do follow me on Instagram, you'll see that it was my cinnamon GHI bred to my pastel blackhead het hypo. So I'm really trying to hit a cinnamon blackhead GHI. I think cinnamon blackhead work really well together. I'm really interested to see what GHI does to it. GHI is quite a dominant gene. If you have any GHI and anything, GHI can sort of wipe pattern out of everything. So I'm quite interested to see what it's going to do with them three. And then I'm hoping for a female that I can hold back, and then that's going to be het hypo, or pos het hypo as it was, and then I'll be putting some other hypo stuff in that, just trying to get the dark stuff together really. So yeah, this is my egg box. You can see they're decent size. Really happy with the way that this has turned out. Whether it's going to actually work or not, I don't know. Again, it's going to be one of them things that I'm going to trial, but to be honest, I can't see it going wrong. It's basically exactly the same as any other egg box. Basically, the sponge is exactly the same as what any substrate be, whether it's vermiculite or whatever you decide to use in your tubs. The spacers, they're not really going to change anything. They're not going to stop airflow, they're not going to stop the heat or anything like that. It is literally just to stop the babies from sort of getting in with each other, disturbing each other. And you can see on there, I've actually even put some little braces in place, just so that if something does push on that, these will actually push against the sides, lock in place, and these sides aren't going to go anywhere. And it's really easy to put together, to be honest. You get the 3 main cross pieces, they all go in together like that. It took a lot of work to get this. There was a lot of trial and error went into this. There was so many different versions that I've made, different measurements, this, that and the other, and this is the final one that I've come to that I think is going to work. Basically, I didn't want to join all these together. I wanted them to all sort of come apart, just so it's easy to sort of clean them, and then to store them as well. I can sort of stack all these up and store them together. And it's quite awkward to do this with one hand, just because it is a little bit fiddly, but once you get everything in, it's pretty sturdy to it. And once the lid is on as well, that just sort of locks everything in place, secures it all in there, and the snakes aren't going to go anywhere basically. So that's how it looks. I think the orange looks absolutely pucker. Again, quite biased just because I like the colour orange, but yeah. So once the lid goes on, again, there's no holes in any of this. I don't really worry about any air getting in, things like that. This is going to clip on. It's got that perfect seal around the edge, which I'm really happy about. These clips are absolutely spot on as well. They're not heavy duty, but I think they're going to last. And that's basically it. So if I tip this up now, you can see nothing really moves around. I'm not that wasn't good. But there you can see I've even chucked it across the room, and nothing's moved. You can see from the side view there, each little separate chamber. It's absolutely spot on. You can see there's not a huge amount of foam in there, just enough that it's going to hold the amount of water. I can always top the water up as well, that's not an issue. But yeah, you can see that lid holds everything in place. Nothing's going to move, it's absolutely solid. So yeah, really excited to get this going. It's going to be something quite new. I do have my own incubator build coming very soon. I've got a few more ideas. I'm just waiting for materials to turn up, and then as soon as they're here, I can crack on with my incubator build. So really excited about that as well. But yeah, check that out. I think that looks absolutely awesome. Thought I'd quickly show you this girl as well. I don't want to mess her about too much, but she is going into shed now. So once she does shed, it'll probably be a sort of, I don't know, 25 to 28 days before she does lay that clutch. And she's not a big girl. I think she was about just under 1600 grams when I started to breed her. I'm not entirely sure what she's at now, but she is absolutely rammed. You can see how tight her skin is there. She's literally like a stuffed sausage, bless her. Yeah, really excited for this clutch. I'll show you the girl that decided to lay all them slugs for me. This is my pastel clothing. You see she's got a bit of a dodgy shed, but I think that's from where I'm in this new room. It's quite dry in here, so the humidity isn't great in their tubs. But yeah, she's looking brilliant. She's up to size again. You can see she's nice and fat, nice and chunky. But yeah, really it is a shame. I'm not too sure what happened with this male. I don't know if I pushed the male too hard, if I was breeding him too much, but he was getting regular breaks, sort of having a couple of weeks off in between females. Yeah, it might have just been temperatures, I'm not sure. It's just one of them things that happens, but I will be repeating that process just because I really do want to get some blackhead clown stuff in the collection. So yeah, that's one to look out for in the future. But this girl, she will be coming to lay some eggs very soon, so yeah, that's definitely going to be another one to watch out for. So that's going to be the end of this video. It's a nice short one, just to basically show you what I've been doing. Again, I should have shown this a long months and months, about 6 months ago I should have shown this, but it was one of them things that I ended up with a dodgy clutch and I just didn't get around to showing it. Basically it was a real kick in the nuts, that clutch, but it happens, part of the hobby. You just have to move on and look towards the future. So yeah, that's one of the projects. I do have a few more projects. As you can see, I've got a load of 3D printed stuff going on over there. I do have a few little more things I need to show you, and once this clutch is laid and ready to cut, I've got something a little bit special to show you for the cutting. I haven't seen anything like it yet. This is something I've been working on for quite a long time. I've been trying to get it patented, and for me to get it patented is just an absolute nightmare. So I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to sort of show you what I've made. If someone copies it, what can you do? It is what it is, but at least you know that I was the one that created it first. Just remember that. So yeah, that's going to be something coming out. Obviously it's not going to be for a few months until we do get the eggs, but it's definitely going to be something well worth waiting for. So subscribe, you don't want to miss it. There's so much more coming with this 3D printer as well, because if you do watch the channel, you know that I've got loads of stuff going on down in the new workshop. I've got loads of stuff coming for this. There's just loads of stuff coming on, so it is definitely well worth watching. I've got some 3D printed videos already made. I did have a new YouTube channel that I started. I've decided I'm not going to do that. As I said, everything's going to be on this one channel now as a main channel. So I've got a few little things coming up. I think the first video I'm going to upload is a 3D printed Canon that does actually fire with sort of my own homemade gunpowder and little pellets. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. There's a little different style of video as well. I'm not sort of doing any talking in the video. It's more of a voiceover type of video, just because that's what that main channel was going to be. But now it's coming back. Once I get those videos up and uploaded, they'll go back to normal videos just like this. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you're excited. And if there's any projects you want to see me make on the 3D printer, it can literally be anything, whatever you can think of. If I can draw it on my design platform that I use and I can print it, then I'll do it. So get some thinking going, get some comments going, and yeah, I'll pick one and I'll see if I can make it. So thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.